Hello everyone, this is again Dr.Vineet Kumar Purohit in front of you from Mahavir Institute of Technology and Science. I serve in the Department of Applied Science English and I teach human values to my first year students. Uh, as we have been discussing about the various levels and dimensions in human values, about its content. So here comes the unit fifth and it is the last unit over here where we are going to know about right understanding, the last concept. As I said that the course has been designed and distributed beautifully in 5 minutes, but actually there are the three concepts about the importance of human values in various like harmony in various levels, and the third one is the right understanding. So the entire unit with the five chapters is enriched with uh, about the right understanding only. So here comes the very first chapter in unit fifth, that is chapter number 12. We will be reading till chapter number 16 also. Five chapters are over there. So this chapter number 12 in unit fifth, like after going through and understanding the harmony in all the levels separately, we are moving towards like what should be there in a correct and righteous way, which is supposed to be followed by us. So this is what we are going to read up over here. Here comes the chapter number one, which, sorry, 12, and that is about providing the basis for the universal human values and ethical human conduct. The conduct in which we have, unchangeable reflections, the conduct which has solidarity. In one word, I can say definitiveness. So, like, how can we have universal human values in our perception, in like every action, every second? And how can like we make our demeanor, our behavior with unchangeableness? So this is what we will be reading, and here it is actually taking us towards the right understanding. So can we have the next slide, please? In the next slide we shall come to know what this chapter is trying to teach us. Wow, lovely. uh, it is like very clear in front of me. It is talking about the values and the different dimensions of the human living, values, the human values basically, in different directions, dimensions of human living. That whatever actually we are, I taught you in unit fifth also about the nature, usage, the resources that we are rendering nowadays. So, the duty actually comes in front of us, to us, in two ways. First is the utility value, that whatever we have from the nature, that physical facility, we need to nurture and protect it. And the second is the artistic value. That artistic value is teaching us that we need to preserve the utility, the resources, the natural resources. Okay, so like in that way, we can be prosperous. But regarding these two notions, we need to develop our right understanding. The second notion comes over here in front of our eyes in this displayed PPT, and that is about universal values naturally emerging from the right understanding. Emerging, the word stands over here, that is coming. Yes, it is like very true. We have read, we have read the values in the form of education, but we are actually not applying them. So it is like, that particular application comes from right understanding. So here, like our own right understanding, our own system of the natural acceptance and the self exploration, that is going to teach us. So the chapter is actually trying to say that these values cannot be, enforced. These values cannot, you know cannot come through the fear, that if like we are making somebody awful or we are frightening somebody, we can impose. No, it is really not feasible. Okay. And through the scriptures, through the bookish knowledge, the values cannot be inculcated in anybody. So these actually three attributes are really not visible. That is fear, enforcement, and the knowledge through the bookish knowledge. Okay, in the next slide, we will be coming to know that the definitiveness of the ethical human conduct, that is like very important. Yes, definitiveness. This is what like I have already taught uh, in our previous uh, levels of the harmony. And here, like again, this is coming and this is teaching us that we need to have the unchangeable behavior. We need, if we are happy in the morning, yes, we need to be happy throughout the day. So here, like the definitiveness, the unchangeable behavior that can come in ourself, in human beings, that is because of the three things, the three steps. That first of all, the values, the mulya, we need to understand, we need to on that particular button of the natural acceptance in ourself. The second comes the policy, the niti, that whatever we have understood, we need to follow, we need to always think about it. Okay, and then the behave our behavior will be reflected with the help of these policies also. And the third one is about the character. This is also very important. Like when we understood the values, we started following it, and now these things may be reflected in our character to make our behavior with full of definitiveness. So what is that? The character is basically about the one woman, one man. We need to spend our own money. And the third is we need to be very kind towards the others. So this is actually the definitiveness about the human conduct. Conduct is behavior. Yeah, in the next slide, we shall come to know that how these impact of the definitiveness can be reflected in the four levels, at the level of the individual, family, society, and nature. If we check in today's scenario, the people are full of stresses. So that thing will not be reflected. Okay. After like following the value, then applying it in the form of policy and, you know, making our character. Okay. So like, yeah, making our character, on the basis of the values, mulya. So it's so like we will be, stress free, and we will be a very sane and sorted person. In the respect of the family, we will understand the relationship of each other and importance of each and everything. We will be prosperous also. In the society, we can make the society fearless. Okay, the goal will be achieved. And in the last level, the nature, like we will be protecting, we will be nurturing the nature, and in this way, we can be very much prosperous also and happy also. Okay, so this was actually about the human conduct and the basis for the human we can say human values. In the next chapter, the next slide, we will come to know about the alternative towards the universal human order. The alternative, a particular motto towards the human order, universal human order, which is really going to be very much helpful for all of us, for the entire human race. So here actually some notions are there which we people are supposed to follow on the basis of the right understanding, the vision for the holistic alternative, and all that. So what is this? These actually are the points which are going to let us that we need to identify the comprehensive human goal first of all. Yes, we need to identify that what our goal is going to be. We have read already that the society has the four goals: right understanding in individual, prosperous family, fearless society, and coexistence in the nature. So if we are actually having these goals, we can be a very happy person. So the our vision for the holistic alternative, will be the five dimensions that we read in this harmony of the society: education and sanskara, health and regulation, justice preservation, production work, and exchange storage. These are the five dimensions which I have already expatiated in detail, that what kind of the education that we are receiving, we need to follow. Like I read about the human values, and now like actually I'm sharing it with you. I'm sharing that, this is what I have learned, and if you also do this, if you also like, participate in my search, my research, we will be able enough to explore something new. So like, see, the education and sanskara is like that, that you, whatever we have read, we actually are supposed to follow that to be happy. So like, these are actually the vision. Similarly, like, we are supposed to keep our health also very good, very okay. So we need to be very much disciplined. Secondly, thirdly, like, we need to enrich, we need to nourish, and we need to protect our nature. Okay, the preservation is like the nature's preservation is going to preserve us also. It will be like very helpful for our life. And next was like the production and work. We need to decide what is to be produced and how much is to be produced, and accordingly we need to strategize something in the form of the work that is going to be very helpful to make us prosperous and happy. And last was the exchange and storage. Here I can give you an example, like, there are 10 farmers in a village. If they all actually are, you know producing the same product in their farms, then like, for the other things they are going to beg from the others or ask for the others. But if like they decide that we shall be like, producing the different actually cereals, the different crops will be there in our farms, then I hope like if they follow this particular strategy, they will be exchanging and they will be having the ample actually the material to be stored for their future. Yeah. The next actually point comes in front of our eyes, that is basis for the humanistic education and humanistic constitution. This is telling that the competence of the people, like the style of doing the work may be different, but if they are having the same perception, the same notion, the same understanding about the uh, you know uh, experimenting or implementation of any slide sorry any actually implementation of any kind of work, then I hope so many things can be done easily. uh, I can say we can be like, happy, we can be prosperous, because like every human being is following the same mentality. The next comes, that is about the humanistic education. The humanistic education is actually teaching us that we need to follow, that uh, a particular uh, pedagogic style of teaching the vivid subjects to our students, in which we can include such topics and the subjects which are telling us that, you know or which are actually taking the students towards the human values. So that will be like very good for us. Next is the humanistic constitution. The humanistic constitution actually imply over here that the people should always uh, work to be in harmony and to be harmonious. That thing is going to bring uh, the achievement of the goal. That thing, to work in the direction of the harmony, will bring a lot of happiness, the continuous happiness, I must say, as well as the prosperity. Okay, and I hope like the living in all the levels in harmony, that is basically the humanistic constitution. Next and last, the topic in this particular chapter is universal human order and its implication. It is actually telling that we need to, follow all those, we need to actually, and follow the notions of the self exploration and natural acceptance to be very much actually useful for ourselves. And like, In this way, we can correct our behavior, which is going to, you know, take us in the righteous direction. So yes, in the next slide, we can read about the next chapter, that is about the professional ethics in the light of the understanding. Professional ethics. Profession is basically the job that is actually related with profession. And the job has the certain rules and regulation. So ethics basically are denoting towards the rules and regulation, the various rules and regulations. Here we are going to come to know about the ethics, the rules and regulations which are followed in the job area. But that is in the light of right understanding. Okay, like this is very important for us to follow the rules and regulations. But what are the rules and regulations which are coming from our inside, from the natural acceptance and the self exploration? Because that is only the right understanding. Natural acceptance is like, unchangeable in any condition, at any time, place, with people. It remains always same. So that is actually the right understanding. So profession, like in the light of the comprehensive human goal, that is teaching us that what kind of the profession we people are occupying or following, we need to be very honest, following the ethics, the rules and regulations, okay, into the job. That becomes very important. Next is ensuring the competence in the professional ethics. Competence, like we can say in today's scenario, people think that my gain is others' loss, or others actually loss is my gain, I can say. So it has actually become the motto in professional life. But is it true? No, this should not be there. People should be very much aware that we need to keep on paying attention towards the prosperity, which is going to make us continuously happy. Okay. So ensuring the competence, like we are supposed to follow that particular behavior, competence, behavior, conduct, which is very good for us. Okay. And that is going to ensure that we are in harmony. Next is the competence in the professional ethics. That is like almost same. Competence in the professional ethics is also same, which is what I have explained just right now. You know, we should be very much clear. We should be very much actually confident what we are doing. We are not supposed to follow the thinking of others. Okay, the rules and regulations are supposed to be followed, but what the other is saying, and we need to judge what is the correct, what is ethical. All these things are supposed to be followed by us, and that actually is going to bring the confidence and clarity. Next slide, please. In the professional ethics, we find so many issues nowadays in current scenario. What is that? Like, we see the cutthroat competition. We see the misleading of the propagandas. We see the tax evasion, misappropriate, and you know misuse of the public funds. So many actually, yeah, adulteration, that is also one of the burning problem in today's society. So how can we correct it? We can correct it by promoting the awareness and administering the oaths, by audits, by imposing the laws, so on and so forth. So many actually things can be done. Even like the whistleblowing is one of the very powerful option which can be adopted to stop the above mentioned problems, and we can come over. The next one is the inherent contradictions and dilemmas and their resolution, resolutions, like solutions. Inherent, like it is telling that undoubtedly so many problems actually are prevailing nowadays, so many problems, but how can we rectify that? Okay, problems are of like the representation of the society, through the advertisements, through the news channels, and the other actually, the media also. But we can actually do something. We can follow the ethics through the right understanding, and we can help out that, in these things, use your natural acceptance, take the help of the right understanding, and ultimately we can move towards the righteous direction, towards the correct thing. Okay, like in this way. So like the resolutions are like this, the problems are already over there, but right understanding can help us to sort out the problems. Next slide, please. Yes, here comes the next chapter, the chapter number 15. This is the second last chapter of the unit 5. It is talking us about the vision. Like we need to develop a vision for the holistic technologies, production systems, and management models. The holistic, you know which is like same for everyone. So what can be actually the vision which can, bring us the deep dive technologies, our production system, the system which are production, producing something, and the management models, like, management models, the economic structure, so like these are so many notions which are coming in front of our eyes, seeing the prevailing actually problems of our society in today's time. So is that okay? No, undoubtedly there are, so many chances to improve it. So what it should be? It should be like, we need to prepare the things according. See, the very first topic here, the holistic criteria for evaluation. That is like, we need to be focused towards the correct needs of the people, what they want, what we are producing, what we are managing. That should be people friendly and eco friendly. If we are following these two actually notions, that the production system, the management models, the technologies must be people friendly and eco friendly, like there are not going to be harm from, to the nature also, and to the human beings also, from our technologies, from our production systems, then I hope like that can be very good. But how the people are going to come to know about uh, the stopping of the misuse of the technologies, not to make them, harmful for us? That is going to come from the right understanding. The criteria for the technologies, there are actually so many criteria which are very useful for us, which we can follow up over here, uh, to make our society problem free. The criteria are like, we need to fulfill the needs in a proper manner, which should be safe, user friendly, conducive to health, low cost, and energy efficient. So like so many actually things are there which we can keep in mind. Next come for the production system. What ideology or ethics are supposed to be followed for uh, our production system. For production system, we can say we need to think that what is to be produced, how is to be produced, and for whom we are supposed to produce. If we are actually, following these things, we will be keeping in mind the needs. Okay, we will be, keeping in mind that what is the proper use of the ethics, what is the proper use of the things in the light of the right understanding, which are not going to harm others and which can be very much beneficial for everybody. Okay, like in this way we can uh, redefine the methods of the technology, management models also, and our production systems also, which will be like, helpful and very good for everybody. Even the management models can also be, redefined in the form of like, it should be motivational and cooperative, it should be sharing of the responsibilities, it must ensure the correct appraisal of the human beings. We need to think about, next slide please, can we have the next slide please? Yeah, in the next slide, actually, we are going to come to know that what is the critical appraisal of the prevailing system. Undoubtedly, there are actually so many things. Next slide is actually talking about the management. Yeah, yes, this is what we have done. Next slide is also going to talk about that what is prevailing in today's scenario. That undoubtedly the things are ruined, the things are corrupt, but we need to follow something ethically in our profession to make it like quite good and reusable for others. So we need to actually develop some learning from the systems in the nature and the traditional practices. What are these? Like we need to follow that what the other people are, you know, going to do for us. The other people I'm talking about the oldies, flash. The other people actually the oldies, our, the old traditional people, they also used to follow to protect the society, to protect the nature. They used to follow some actually technologies, some methods, which are also supposed to be followed by us also in today's era. And in that way, the holistic technologies and the system, you know, typical case studies that can actually be attained over here, you know, the the older styles, the older methodologies are really very much helpful for us to give a complete actually that gram swarajya or to know the sattva. These actually the concepts can be completed over here in a very better manner. So uh, to develop actually the technology, the management and the production system, we need to focus towards some things. That is, we need to prepare some strategies to use our waste, to make our tools user friendly, to use the solar devices in a proper manner. We need to learn the water harvesting that the oldies, the grandies used to do. And in that manner, like we can learn how the food, the animals, the production system, all can be done in a very easy manner and righteous manner rather. Now, we are moving towards the last slide, that is about the last chapter. And here, the last chapter is, yes, this is the last slide, and this is the last chapter, chapter number 16. That is the journey towards the holistic alternative. Like it is, we can say it is the compress of the entire course over here. Like we are appreciating the need for the self exploration. Yes, what is the journey, like what is the road ahead? We must guide others that develop the self exploration uh, in ourselves to move in the right direction. We need to learn the facilitating the understanding of the harmony at the various levels. Yes, we need to know that how can we be in harmony at every level. We need to actually follow some steps to evaluation at the individual level. Like one must know that how can I be in the right direction if I'm committing something wrong or if I'm committing something correct. These are the things that we need to always keep in mind. The some steps for the transition at the level of the family, society and the profession, that is supposed to be taken place. Like, we need to be very much, understanding, like right understanding should be there. We need to be honest. There must be the responsibility, accountability and participation. These actually the four factors are there, four actually attributes are there to understand the steps for the transition at the level of the family, society and profession. So like the next point comes, how can we promote the mass awareness and moving towards the humanistic education? To promote actually the mass awareness, it is actually not the overnight process. It is going to take a lot of time. So we need to start planning that how the things, can this beautiful course can be reached to the others in the correct manner. So we need to plan out some things, some actually the points, the strategies which can be, which can be helpful for us to take the right steps to spread out the seeds of the human values. Next is the evolving the holistic models of the living. Holistic models, like, that is also, like, that has been covered already in the above mentioned uh, point, the promotion for the mass awareness. The points actually, the strategies should be taken in the mind, that what can be done, and that is undoubtedly the self exploration and right understanding. The last point over here, that is like amending the policies, programs, and social systems in tune with the comprehensive human goal. Yes, it is very true. This is actually, and that is why, like, we have read it, the entire course. That is denoting towards that we are supposed to change the today's policies, the systems of the technologies, of the management system, the economic system, that our, like, the leaders, the biggies are not supposed to be pointed towards the uh, their gains. Okay, at that the other should be in loss. No. So in this manner, like, I'm like, because it's that the chapter is actually going to be end, so I'm actually hinting towards that only, that we are supposed to change so many things, and it is not actually the one day process. It is going to take a lot of time. So we are all together and we will be doing it. Thank you. I hope, like, you would have liked the the content, and use it if it can be usable for you. Thank you really very much. Thanks. Take care.